Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best conservative talk. Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
I do.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening as we're getting there.
Nothing like using the man in the street microphone. Excuse me, sir. What do you think of prostitutes?
Yeah.
Well, I use them damn near every day.
Oh, hey, you know what, BZ? Honestly, sir.
Excuse me, ma'am. What do you think of vaginas? Well, I have one. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. I got you. I got you now, BZ. You're on the camera. I got you.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that.
I might have to do adjustment.
You should do a lot of adjustment. I'm not going to lie.
Listen, those are facts and evidence. All right, let me look at this damn thing. Okay, let's see. I guess I can go that way. Okay, now we can see the picture of BZ with Larry Elder. Good.
Yeah.
All right, all is now well.
All is now well. I'm going to cut you back just a little bit, which I can do that on this new soundboard. So,
Yeah, this is an experiment tonight.
Yeah, most people probably don't understand what the hell is going on here. And I'm trying. You have to understand. I'm only... Halfwit is a really good word. I think a halfwit's a great word to describe it. I'm a halfwit.
Well, no, you're not.
So, yeah, but here's the best part. So we got a brand new board. And
I put out 3 tweets just about the board itself.
And
let me ask you a question. Do
Yes,
you have
sir.
techno stuff to do right now?
I kind of do.
Okay, then let me go into a story about the board.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to mute for a second. So go ahead.
Okay. So here's the deal. I came to Sackheads and I came to SHR Media. Jersey Joe in chat says, fire the producer. Jersey Joe, don't go to YouTube and don't watch what Sackhead Sean just did on the camera. Okay, let's back that car wash up just a bit, BZ. And it goes like this. When I first came to Sackheads, it was grand to get back into radio, but everything these days in radio is digital. Well, I came from an age in radio where everything was analog. And everything, at least in Sacramento where I was, everything was Sparta. Sparta this, Sparta that, Sparta boards. You had 2 VU meters or you had a single VU meter. You had a cart deck, 2 turntables and a microphone.
Great song, by the way.
I know, it's true. And that's as much singing as you're going to get from me tonight. But in any event, that's the last time that I was in radio, is all that crap came from Sparta. And everything was analog. Well, fast forward 40 years, and now everything is digital. Well, when I first came into the Sackheads studio, which is where we are right now, the Sackheads radio studio, when I first came to Sackheads, everything's run off a computer, everything's run off a laptop, everything is digital. Well, we were also running stuff off a Xenix X2222 board, which is definitely not made for radio. It's made for music venues. It has inputs like, guitar 1, guitar 2, bass, vocals, etc., etc., etc. And it's really damn complicated looking. Oh, stop just for a second. Where's my manners? I'd like to say hello to everybody in chat. I'd like to say hello to Dave in chat, to Jersey Joe in chat, to Carrie Baxter Donovan in chat, to Mike, who's in chat, Mary Brockman is in chat, and Dan Butcher of High Plains Pundit Media Magnet, MAGNATE fame. Welcome to everybody in chat. Thanks for being there. It's a great chat room. In any event, so I sit down at this board that's extremely complicated looking. And after that, we decide, hey, maybe it's time to upgrade the board. So we look around. And we find this particular company called Arrakis, and they're out of Colorado. And so we got the board 2 days ago. It took about a month to build and get here. And now...
And build it is the key word.
Yeah. And it pretty much all this stuff is kind of custom made, but we're hoping that it's going to do everything that we want it to do. I mean, it operates off of Bluetooth. The phone calls should be easier, theoretically. The ability to plug in my laptop should be easier. And so here's the deal. Now, the box was sitting in the studio, and I brought it in yesterday during my show. So Sean had about, I'd guess, 2.35 seconds
if that.
To put the board up.
Right.
Get it activated, plug all the shite in, and try to have a radio show. And trust me, Sean was working right up to the crack. And I think that was a big old spider. And Sean was still working on the board. So
last gun's fired. That's me.
We're hoping this is going to solve a lot of problems. It sure as shit is a lot easier to look at. I mean, there's like 8 inputs, maybe 10 or 12 sliders. And that's about it. And the sound is supposed to be much superior. Now we got to just go back and figure out how to do a little, kind of tinker around a little bit and do some details in it.
There'll definitely be some finite stuff that needs working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's definitely just little things here and there that are going to need tweaking. And, this is where the listeners are huge for us, because I want to make sure that what we're hearing is what they're hearing. So if feedback,
quite frankly, I'm not hearing a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm relying on you.
You can't hear a thing right now?
No, I've got nothing through the headphones. But you know what? I don't expect anything through the headphones. And here's why. It's brand new. It's going to take a day or two to figure a lot of this stuff out.
How do I have sound in the headphones?
Because you're better than me. See, here's the deal, and you will never admit it. You are a techno god. Okay, little g, all right, but still, you're a techno god.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. I still don't know how I
And here's the other thing. Here's the big difference between Sean and me.
Yes.
This thing comes with 2 books, an instruction book and a spec book, that kind of stuff. And Sean goes, fuck it. And throws the book down.
Fuck it.
And just starts plugging in shite. And guess what? If you're listening to us right now, apparently it's working.
Yes. Yeah, so on some level it's working. I know already why your headphones are not working, and I can fix
by the
that
way,
at the
in
break.
chat, Kerry says, quote, I think the sound is really good.
Thank you. Gosh, yeah.
And Mary Brockman says, it seems low, but I have a fan running.
Well, I can make little adjustments here and there. That's not a problem whatsoever.
And then Dave Miller, and welcome to Dave for coming in.
Thank you, David. As
good to
always,
see you here.
Always a pleasure.
And Melanie Collette just showed up.
Oh, wow.
Money Talk with Mel. It's a packed chat room tonight.
We're really getting everybody in there. I'm
boys
really
and girls,
psyched.
children of all ages. It is absolutely packed, so good to see everybody. Now, Dave brings up an interesting point, and maybe you can explain this, because I honestly don't know, because I'm not the techno guy. Let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
As people probably have already sussed out, Sackheads Clint, if you're on Facebook and you're looking at Facebook Live, now if you want to
Or
see us
YouTube.
live, you can go to Facebook, to the SHR Media page on Facebook, and we're
Right.
live right now. And you can go to the SHR Media channel on YouTube and watch us live right now. And if you're watching us live on video, you can see there are 3 seats. One is conspicuously empty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because he's not here, we can pick on him like crazy. And you made a bet, and I wouldn't take you up on that bet.
Why?
Because you said
Why?
the next time that Clint comes into the studio, he's not going to see or notice that we have a brand new board, and a lot of the extraneous GURP that was there is now gone. And at first I said, okay, I'll take you on that bet. Then I remembered who we're talking about, and I said, no, I'm not going to take that bet. Whatever it is I bet, I'm going to lose money at that. So no, I'm not going to take that bet.
Oh man.
Because what you said would be absolutely true. Should we play a game, because we know that he's not listening to us right now, so clearly we can say any damn thing we really do want to say.
How is it
about
possible
him.
for him to even listen while he's in the middle of that surgery?
Well, that's true. That is an excellent point. And they do it at night too.
Right. Well, that's the only way there's enough wattage in the power grid to run the saw that he
right.
needs
You know,
for his
they-
friggin' nose.
they
Is
had
my
to-
flag upside down, really?
They had to run more water through Hoover Dam to make more power for the equipment that's used on his surgery. And that's good to know, that you can ask them to create more power. That's always good to know. Now, Kerry in chat says, hey, I love the hats. And if you are watching, I have my Boeing F-16 Fighting Falcon
Yes.
hat right now.
Yes, you do.
Nice patriotic hat.
Very patriotic.
And you have an NYPD hat.
I do
And
have an
Mike,
NYPD
I think
hat.
there's a story behind that.
There
is there not?
There is a story behind this. I just after 9/11, I was down in New York, and I befriended a New York City police officer, and I got one of their actual duty baseball hats that they were wearing at the time, and I had that for, 7-8 months. He actually he wore it a few times to the World Trade Center site, the pit, and
It's kind of banged up.
yeah. Well, wait. So the original one was actually stolen out of my car,
Oh, shite.
which I was pretty upset about. Fortunately, I kept the guy's mailing address because it was 2001 and not everyone had email. And I emailed him and wrote him a letter and said, hey, my original hat was stolen, blah, 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 blah. And he sent me this one. It wasn't the official duty hat, but it was what their benevolent association was selling.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it comes right from their benevolent association at the time. Also got a couple really nice pins. Very, very, very wonderful guy. And I've had this ever since. And that was 2012 early. So I have worn this, as you can tell. I've worn this down to the brim.
It looks like you've worn that dismantling IEDs.
The hard way.
The difficult way.
The very, very hard way.
It looks like that hat came right out of the Hurt Locker.
Well, BZ, you know what? You've seen me walk around. I am kind of the Hurt Locker. But
I'm going to really date myself right now.
well, I have to do two things really quick.
Okay.
Two things that I got to be honest about. And here we go. Number one, Melanie Collette immediately pointed out in the chat room that I said duty.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Which just makes me laugh so hard. If you're not in the chat room, shrmedia.com is the chat. Number two, you know the sweet Dan Butcher that everybody knows and loves?
Yeah, I talked to him last night.
You know Danny, right? And everybody says the same thing about Danny. He's so sweet. He's so nice.
Yeah, but what do you say about him? You say he's the
The second best newsman in the business.
Second
and
best,
I hold
yeah.
true to that forever. There's one guy who beats him, and you know what? Sometimes you're the winner and sometimes you're the loser, and he's just got to accept it for what it is. And that's different. We've talked about that, and he knows it. However, 10 minutes into the show, as I'm still trying to figure out the last of the technology to get this amazing board operational, and not everything is fixed yet. I still have some shit I have to get done, and I know that. But the reality of the situation is I get a text message from my buddy Dan. Now,
Okay.
Dan and I go way
Right.
back. We are very, very close. We've broke bread together. We've had beverages together. I've spent time with him and his beautiful wife.
Beverages.
Beverages,
Quote,
hard alcohol beverages, bourbon, as a matter of fact, at a very nice hotel down in Dallas. I've slept in the same room as Dan Butcher. We go back quite a way. We're really tight.
Okay.
Danny sends me a text at 8:10. Don't F up the new board. That's all he says. Not hey,
Not
good luck, or let me know if you need something, and I can Google it while you're on the air trying to make your show happen if you need some help. Oh no, not Danny.
don't you mess up the damn board.
And yes, Danny just put in the chat room at SHR Media, lots of beverages. That was a long, long night, my friend. But there's the support I get from our friends in the chat room, so that's nice. That's always good. Oh,
Melanie Colette says that she is startled when we actually use poo-poo language. Poo-poo
Really?
nasty language.
It really
on the air.
bothers the fuck out of her, huh?
Because she doesn't use it on her show.
Oh, see.
So she's comparing it because she has to actually be professional
Right.
because she's speaking about very serious topics,
Right.
money, financial advice. By the way, folks, Monday through Friday, you need to be listening to Money Talk with Melanie.
Absolutely.
Right
Absolutely.
here on SHR Media
Yeah.
and High Plains Pundit Radio.
And we all know that she's pretty freaking amazing.
So because she's professional, and
Yeah,
I'll
wicked.
be the first to say I'm not.
Wicked.
So
Yeah, so it
whenever,
really bothers the fuck out of her that we
poo-poo nasty
curse, huh?
slips out occasionally, and
That's just a shame.
da-
That's just a shame.
Melanie says, "LOL, I can't stand you, Sean."
Well, good. That works out well for me.
Well, what kind of shite are we going to make up about Clint?
Oh, well, we already said the Hoover Dam, right? He's got to go back for stage 3 of rhinoplasty. The first 2 saws broke. Last time they were ordering the tree saw, the
That's
ones
right.
that they hang out of the bottom of the giant Sikorsky helicopters and drag through the forest to clear power lines.
Right.
That's where he is at as we speak. Now, the operation actually started a day and a half ago. The latest from the doctor is that they're on their 4th set of blades. They've had
those things are about what, I don't know, $5,000 each, right around in there.
At least, yeah, because they're diamond tipped. They had to go out and get a 3rd reserve helicopter because the first 2 that were flying back and forth sorties.
It wore them out. You can only fly helicopters like that for so many hours.
Well, and especially the pilots, right? I mean, these poor guys, they're going, and they're going hard, and it's intricate, right? Because when you're trying to lop off the front of the equivalent...
Well, they are pressing the FAA regs right to the envelope because they can work 12 on, 12 off.
Imagine trying to get a nose off of one of the presidents from Mount Rushmore. That's where we're at
Wow,
right now.
Okay, that's a good.
But you can't use an explosion, right? Because
That's
it's
an
Clint's
accurate,
face still.
right? You can't use black powder, and you can't contact the DuPont Corporation. So yeah, good point.
Oh, yeah. So he will be
And
back.
I don't think they have enough Semtex for that either.
No. It's too,
think
it's
you'd
too
have to get-
volatile in that amount.
Yeah, I think you'd have to go to some Balkan country to try to scrape
Some
up.
Balkan country.
Yeah, to try to scrape up whatever
It's in the
Semtex
Balkans.
amount would require to do blasting. And then the other thing is there will be ancillary wounds. I mean, the building is in jeopardy. Some of the people, if it's in a neighborhood, etc.
So, oh, even Mrs. Butcher now is giving me grief about don't fucking up the board. This is just, it just never ends.
I gotta say,
Yes, sir.
since we're on the topic,
Go ahead.
you pulled out the board,
Yeah.
and then you actually handed it to me.
Yes.
And I picked up the board. Son of a bitch.
It's heavy.
That thing is heavy. Now it's about half the size of the old board that's right over to my left that you guys can't see.
Right. And this is the Arrakis Arc 2 Blue.
Oh, nope.
Yeah, hold on. I can do this. Wait. There we go.
Yeah, there's the board.
And it is incredible.
It's built like a damn tank.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I apologize to everyone with my camera. There we go. It is. It weighs probably damn close to 30 pounds for a little board. And that's not an exaggeration.
No, I looked at that thing, and I held it, and I thought, God, that is extremely deceptive.
Yeah. It's
I
very
was
deceptive.
expecting it to be nice and light, and, like plastic or something like that. Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
No, it's crazy. It's heavy as a son of a bitch. I'm not even going to lie. It's heavy as a son of a bitch. I don't know how the hell I did it, but I did. BZ 823. We're going to get into a quick topic before we go into a break. We haven't done anything tonight. We've kissed our listeners' asses. We've made fun of me. We fucked with Clint's nose.
Made fun of you. No. Listen, I told folks the truth. I said you were a techno god. And it's those are facts in evidence.
Oh, we're getting a link in chat, and you know what?
I'm going to go there.
I was going to say, when it comes from Danny Butcher, it's either one of two things. It's about the news in Britain, more importantly, the weather in Britain, or it's legitimate. And this is legitimate. It's from Politico. It's called The Electoral College is a national security threat. The Founding Fathers never anticipated the rise of Facebook and fake news.
Yeah, but see, you go there with that, and that brings up the whole issue of fake news. As soon as you mention fake news, to me, it's a dog whistle. It's like, okay, you brought up fake news. All right, well, I wonder what they think fake news is. Well, let's see. If you're the American media maggots, Dan Butcher exempted, you think fake news is everything but you.
Right.
So if it leans, if it's centrist or leans a little bit right, well, clearly that's fake news. Except that time and again, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, etc., they have been proven to be the fake news. But no.
But here's where I blasted out right away. And here's my problem with, and I haven't read the article, it was just sent to me. I don't know the take of this, but the topic alone I've had enough discussions about. Immediately it says the Founding Fathers never anticipated the rise of Facebook and fake news. First and foremost, they did anticipate media expanding, which is why the freedom of the press, it was known as the press at the time. I know they didn't call it social media. I know they don't call it media news. I know because those terms hadn't existed yet. But they understood the importance of the press and free speech. Those two things together are enormous. Now, like or dislike the Electoral College, the simple fact of the matter is it's the most equal way to represent the country by and large. It gives equal to the states depending on what your population is. It gives equality to counties, if they're smaller, still have equal representation. Their votes still matter because once you get to the popular vote, it's a lot different. And anybody who argues against the Electoral College, the first thing I say is San Francisco, L.A.,
New York.
Well, just in California alone. San Francisco and L.A. decide what the state of California does.
Bingo. That's it.
Because they're the two highest population areas, followed by San Diego, which is actually a very conservative area. Most people don't realize that. A much more conservative area than anywhere else in the state for a metropolitan area. But the San Francisco Bay Area and the L.A. area, they decide because of how many state representatives and assemblymen that they get, they decide where this state goes for the most part. It's much different because it is a mob rule election in the state of California.
Well, hell, the Democrats have a supermajority, period. End of statement. There may as well anymore.
But if you had an electoral college system in the state of California, most people don't realize this. If you had an electoral college system in the state of California, it would be, by and large, a conservative state. Everyone's going to say, oh, come on, get out of here. That's friggin' crazy. No. Understand something. Within the state, I'm not talking national elections. I'm talking about state elections. Within the state, there's so many rural and farm areas that are very conservative. Anywhere north of Sacramento, all the way up to the Oregon border, is conservative. You get into the valley and a lot of the farming areas, a lot of conservative. San Diego, outside of L.A. If there was equal representation within the state in an electoral college-like system, you would not have a supermajority like you do of Democrats.
Well, for fuck's sake, California passed
FFS.
Prop 8. California passed Prop 187. And yet those two propositions, we have a strange system, folks, if you don't know what a proposition is. If you have a sufficient number of signatures, you can put a particular issue on the ballot in the state of California, and you can vote it up or vote it down. Well, those two propositions were left-leaning. One was basically saying that, which one was about homosexuals? Was that 187?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
But in any event, these two propositions were approved by the voters in the state of California and then subsequently overturned by the leftist federal courts and state courts.
Right.
So, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Not going to happen.
Right.
But it's possible simply because we are literally like 2 miles that way from the Bill Mill in Sacramento,
Yes.
where all that crap and
it's
effluvium
nonstop, too.
still issues.
Hey, really quick before we go to a break, Melanie Collette says, if anyone in this chat is wearing cotton, so help me. Did you see the Hobby Lobby outrage?
Wearing cotton?
It started on social media. It was a tweet. It is absolutely ridiculous, and we're going to talk about it here after the break on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Back. Let's try this one. Back in a moment.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcast. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians, a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean. Dude, I'm not saying cows. Sackhead Clint. Also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to obstacles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. I apologize. I know there are some people who said that we may have echoed a little bit, and maybe we did.
Dave Milner said, now, that they should keep. That SHR Media Echo thing sounded great. That's not what we meant. We didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah, well,
sorry, Dave.
Shit happens. It's the story of our life here.
Yeah.
New technology, you're going to have to deal with it, everybody. So there's a story. I found this all over the place. A woman in a Facebook post are getting a major attention. Wow. This is just Snowflake 101 America.
Well, is this a story from Facebook? Jesus. Okay, from Facebook.
This is a
That's
story.
Freudian, Facebook. Wow.
The news, the website I found this on is ihavethetruth.com, but every website has run it. I've seen it 1,000 times, but a woman in a Facebook post to get attention, and a vast majority, I doubt she wants. This young girl, actually, this stupid young girl, as the website says, thought she would showcase how disconnected she was from the real world by posting a demand to the Texas Hobby Lobby that they should pull some decor from their shelves due to being offensive to black people. Sounds pretty dangerous, doesn't it? Like, it sounds like really serious shit right now. I think it sounds like...
Well, dangerous, yes. I mean, it could be like melamine in dog food.
Yeah.
From China.
Yeah.
Kill your dogs. Dead.
It's pretty horrible. The article goes on to say, so was this decor item that drove this woman to fight back against the man? Was it racism, ignorance? Oh, that's easy. It was cotton. On display in the Hobby Lobby was a cotton plant in a jar. Now, if you didn't just cock your head and immediately smell that something was completely wrong with this poor girl, you were a broken person. Danrell Ryder is the race crusader that went onto her Facebook to sound off about the raw cotton decorations displayed in Hobby Lobby. She wrote, "This decor is wrong on so many levels. There is nothing decorative about raw cotton. It's a commodity, which was gained at the expense of African-American slaves." She finished off her post by saying, "A little sensitivity goes a long way. Please remove this decor."
Okay. But if you're going to go there, why, number one, pick Hobby Lobby?
Oh,
is it because they're aligned as Christians?
No, she
and
just went in.
Open
and
on
if you
Sunday?
I can't find the picture off the top of my head. Oh, I got it right here. But I can't put it up online. It is literally in a vase, a couple of stalks of cotton, still on the vine. It looks like they had grown, and then they had preserved them to sell them as decor. It is a glass case. It is very simple. It is very... it's something you'd put on an end table in the corner, BZ.
Well, first, Melanie Collette says, actually, the whole cotton thing is racist. and this is her best comment yet. She says, white people picked cotton too, dumbass.
Listen, I have yet to see a picture of that.
But wait, stop. It gets even better. This shirt right here.
Cotton.
Completely cotton.
My Grunt Style shirt, the September release. Hold on. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
There it is. The good people at Grunt Style. Thank you. Cotton. My T-shirt underneath. Cotton. My drawers.
Cotton.
None. But that's not the point.
I had a bunny named
Cotton.
Cotton. And there's candy named
Cotton.
Cotton.
Right. And if you go and watch Bull Durham, I believe the pitching coach was named Cotton.
Cotton.
Racist.
Right.
His parents were obviously
Right.
racist.
And Strother Martin played a character named
Cotton.
one time.
Folks, it is 2017.
It's just
It is
the envelope
decor.
gets pushed further and further. What the hell?
Melanie says, and for those who don't know Melanie, she is, from what people say, a black woman. I can't confirm
Well,
that.
the photos
Suggest that
the
she
photos
is.
suggest that.
But I don't know if she's messing
can't-
with the tint.
I can't say for sure.
I don't know. But
That's just a guess.
her response to after the white people picked Cotton 2 dumbass was, my ass would have been in the house. Now, I think I know what she's referring to. I'm almost positive.
I think so.
But she said she's brown. But the reality of the situation is, have we really got so sensitive that walking in, people are looking for a fucking reason to be outraged?
Can you think of
That's the problem.
a worse way to go through life than a leftist? Would you ever have a second's, just a sliver of happiness in your life? And the answer is no, you wouldn't.
Right.
Because you're unhappy about everything. Everything is a trigger. Everything is wrong. Everything is terrible. The country is evil. The city is evil. The county is evil. Mm-hmm. What you're talking, you're listening to media, that's evil. What people are saying, unless they in perfect lockstep with you, that's evil. So how can you go, leftists, just find yourself a big-ass cliff and step off.
Seriously.
Just be done with it.
It's getting to the point now. Look at Ben Shapiro spoke last week down in Berkeley. I want to say it cost the city of Berkeley and the University of California something like $600,000
$800,000
$800,000 to secure the area so Ben Shapiro could go and speak. You know Ben Shapiro, the white supremacist?
Right. Well, he was called that.
Right.
Yeah. The white supremacist that didn't vote for Trump, the
Right.
guy with the dead orange cat on his head. That guy. But the further question behind that, though, back it up a little bit.
Right.
Who really cost the city of Berkeley and the campus of Berkeley
Liberals.
$800,000?
Liberals.
Yes.
Antifa.
cost
Snowflakes.
them
Liberals.
that money.
The university for making a big deal out of all of these conservative speakers originally.
Their students.
The city of
Cost
Berkeley,
that
the
money.
Berkeley Police Department, the police chief for the University of California at Berkeley, they all cost it because up until Ben Shapiro, they were against it. They allowed these people to act out of control. They've accepted that as a norm that when a conservative comes to speak, it's okay to riot. It was accepted by the leaders in those communities as an acceptable thing because they didn't fucking do anything to stop it originally. They didn't set the note. They didn't set the tone.
Yep.
So now every time somebody more center than John McCain and to the right comes to speak, they're going to lose their ever-loving minds because the idiots that run that university and run that fucking city allowed it to happen. And it's costing them $800,000 to boot.
But here's the thing that's absolutely glorious about that. Because now we know after, let's see, what was that? Last Friday when Ben Shapiro was there?
Yeah.
Okay, so last Friday. So they had walls. Oh, wait.
Jersey barriers.
Does that mean that walls actually
Walls work. That's a different argument to have.
That's kind of odd.
Ironic that the state of California is suing the Trump administration for the walls, but putting them in Berkeley.
But that's okay for leftists. Here's what it really proves. It proves that on every other demonstration where people were hurt and property was damaged,
Right.
vandalized, and set on fire, it
Right.
proves that Berkeley PD and UC Berkeley PD officers were told to stand down because now they proved, working in concert, they can actually stop violence. So by doing that, they proved my theory from the very beginning. They were ordered to stand down.
Yep. And they had to. And I know a lot of people, I've had this argument with a lot of people who say, well, the officers themselves should have ignored that order. Well, that's well and good until you have a family to feed. And I know that there are some officers that would cross the line. I understand the outrage, like, hey, they're supposed to serve and protect. They swore the oath. I understand all of that. However, you have to look at two different things. Not all of them are going to go against this crowd of 400 or 500 Antifa people by themselves. So now, as soon as they step out, they're just as much at risk. But number two, the political backlash, their careers would be over. They would never get another job in the state, and their family would starve. They may even be prosecuted should somebody get hurt during that arrest because they were giving a stand-down order.
That's the potential. People who listen to my show know that I railed for quite some time about that.
On this show, you have too.
And I'm rather steadfast about
And rightfully
that.
so.
And I can understand if you're, say, a senior officer and you've been working there for, 20 years, 25 years, something like that. And you're kind of close to getting to retiring.
Yeah, you're heading out the door.
And all this crap has come up basically in the past 3 years or so. And now you're actually getting orders from your watch commander and from the mayor and from your chief, Greenwood, that piece of shit, to stand down. And Greenwood admitted that he didn't want to intervene over what he called a patch of grass.
Right.
That's a direct quote from
That's right.
Greenwood.
That's right.
Having said that, all I said is all it would have taken was one brave sergeant to insist that his team or her team go in, and once they committed, everyone else would have to commit as well. So I understand your argument, but to watch officers like this disregard the oaths, which I consider to be sacred, disregard the oaths that they swore for political correctness, I'm sorry, I apologize. I support cops whenever I can. I worked 41 years in that GURP, and I'm the strongest supporter of law enforcement you can possibly have. When cops screw up like this, I'm their worst enemy. And to those officers, and they know who they are, they have to go to bed at night. And to those who aided and abetted that crap going on, it's like I say, in those situations, Americans are left defenseless. It's like there's no support, and Americans are left to just brawl it out in the streets as the cops watch.
Yes.
And to the people that gave those orders, and the watch commanders and the higher ups who gave those orders and portrayed them all the way down, fuck you. You dishonored your oaths. And I have no time for you. I said it before. I wrote it in posts. Probably going to end up saying it again. The mayor of the city of Berkeley, the police chief of Berkeley, the police chief of UC Berkeley Police Department, and all the administrators from top on down to the individual officers should all be sued.
Right. I agree.
And you want, lawyers have a phrase called, it's too bad White Mamba isn't in chat right now, but attorneys have a phrase called a chilling effect.
Mm-hmm.
And frequently, defense attorneys want to place a chilling effect upon actions. And I submit, if you're stupid enough to be a law enforcement officer and not honor your oath, I submit that you should, in fact, lose your arse, get out of Berkeley. I'm sorry that, because Berkeley PD officers, folks, in case you're wondering, make an easy 6 figures.
Right.
Every year.
Right.
For doing nothing. Obviously. Except for this past Friday, when we saw that they actually do possess the ability to safeguard lives and property. That's their damn jobs.
And it is their damn jobs, and they're not doing it. That's the problem. And all they're doing at that point is, like we've said before, you're allowing this. You're allowing this to happen, and people are, for lack of a better term, they're going to get hurt. And it's only a matter of time before really they sue, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
Well, there was a particular blog post that I made about 2 weeks ago, and it stepped off by Charlottesville. Somebody in Charlottesville, a leftist in Charlottesville, is suing Charlottesville PD because that particular leftist got injured in the melee in Charlottesville. And I said, "Oh, that's a great place to start." But what of all the people that happened to be leaning on the right that were literally trounced, had bike locks thrown at them, hit in the head, knocked unconscious, bleeding, etc.
Right.
Oh, those would make great lawsuits. I would love to see people
I
sue
agree.
behind those, because people did, in fact, get seriously injured.
But you know as well as I do, PC, how this is going to happen. And you're in California, right? So you're going to go to a court. You're going to tell them what's going on, and the court's going to say, quite simply,
hell no to the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
I mean, they're not going to touch it. And they're not forced to touch it because there's no, as we saw with the judge last week, there's no way of holding them accountable. So why would they change their ways?
Just the threat of a suit and the slapping of papers on a desk, just that in and of itself has a chilling effect.
It does.
I've been sued. I've been sued federally. I've been sued civilly. And I can tell you, you want a chilling effect? Try dog paddling in a federal jurisdiction or on a local venue. When before your incident even comes to court, it's like a year and a half, 2 years, and your department really they don't know what to do with you. They don't really want to touch you. They don't really want to support you until it's found out and it goes to court, and then complete exoneration. Boom.
Total exoneration.
Now I'm a good
Nothing
guy. Now
whatsoever.
Now I'm a fabulous guy. But trust me, when you're dog paddling, waiting for your case to come, and you're taking depositions, etc., that's a chilling effect.
A couple comments out of the chat room, specifically one from Dave Milner, a buddy of ours. He says, it depends on the court. And I said, well, that's all well and good, except right now we're speaking specifically about California. So we know what court it's going to end up in before it goes to the Supreme Court.
Well, here's a wonderful case. I wrote the pursuit policy for the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. My pursuit policy has been up to the Supreme Court and back under Lewis v. Sacramento, County of Sacramento. And a particular deputy got into a pursuit. There was a passenger on the rear of a motorcycle who fell off the motorcycle, not wearing a helmet, etc., and was struck by the automobile, struck by the deputy pursuing. That in and of itself was challenged in court, but it went to the Ninth. And the Ninth said, essentially, that deputy woke up that particular day, and it did go federal because they wanted a 1983 action on this. So it went to the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit's Court of Appeals essentially said that Deputy Lewis, not you,
no relation,
woke up that morning and decided that he was going to strike and kill an individual.
That seems pretty fair, right?
Which was absolutely ridiculous. And then it ended up going back. First, they were hoping that there was going to be basically summary judgment, and the courts didn't grant that. So Deputy Lewis, his life was on hold for 8 years before it went to SCOTUS, to the Supreme Court, who then told the Ninth Circuit they were way off base, and all the suits were dropped subsequently. Now, I thought I had a bad time myself. Oh, folks, try living your life with a lawsuit over your head when no one knows what to do with you, or how to handle you, or what to say to you, or how to act around you for 8 years. And the department held him at arm's length. And it was discovered he did everything correctly. He did everything right. Because my pursuit policy held. The Supreme Court said so. and he was acting under policy. But still, his life was turned upside down for 8 years. And he got a divorce too.
Well, I mean, really, because his life wasn't bad enough, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, we talk about this all the time. I know we had the conversation with Clint last week about the importance of defense attorneys and lawyers and courts and all that. And I certainly don't deny any part of the importance of them.
No,
but
they have their place.
But they also get it wrong. And actually, Jersey Joe just sent this to me, and this is from the Daily Caller. Federal court ruling guts police ability to use their guns is the title. Written by Anders Hagstrom, the Justice Reporter. I want to get a cool title like that. I want to be like Sackhead Sean.
Okay, what was the title again? Federal court does what?
Federal court ruling guts police ability to use guns. This was written on the 20th of September. Federal courts ruled Tuesday that Seattle police can only use force proportional to the threat they face, seriously damaging Seattle's police ability to use firearms. The ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld that the use of force reforms put in place by federal mandates under the Obama administration that required police to use only objectively reasonable force proportional to the threat or urgency of the situation, according to the Associated Press. The unanimous ruling strikes down a lawsuit filed by a group of 120 Seattle police officers in 2014 who claimed that the strict reforms infringe on the officers' right to self-defense and the Second Amendment. The city of Seattle has significant interest in regulating the use of the department-issued firearms by its police officers, Judge William Hayes wrote, adding the policy did not impose a substantial burden to the plaintiff's right to use the firearms. Seattle police argue that new policies would cause officers to second-guess themselves before using firearms in life-threatening situations, according to the Seattle Times. This hesitation and paralysis prevented police from exercising the right to self-defense that they claimed. Now, let's highlight that moment alone. If you are on social media for a minute, you have seen these videos. I think of the officer, I believe it was out of North Carolina about 2.5 months ago. He had his taser out walking up onto a guy, and this wasn't even a department-issued body camera. He had his own glasses that recorded. Guy had his hand in his right pocket. He is a known drug dealer, I believe. He begins walking away from the police officer. The police officer orders him to stop.
I think I've seen that video.
The guy has his right hand buried and indexing his right jacket pocket repeatedly. Has a fake phone call going on, looked at the cop several times, definitely understood he was being told to stop. There was no question about this. The officer, instead of having his firearm drawn, because of training and everything that's going on these days, he did not do that. Now, BZ, 41 years on the street. You have a guy, known drug dealer. I believe he had status, probation, or parole. He starts walking away from you. He's known to flee and fight, and he will not show you his right hand. Do you pull your taser out?
Well, you have to ask yourself, you have to go by the percentages. What percentage of people are right-handed? The bulk of the civilization, at least in the United States. Certainly there are lefties. There's a reason that his hand is in his pocket. Now, you can assume that it could be a gun or it could be a knife. Well, there was a particular incident that occurred, I think, not too long ago where it was alleged that there was some kind of a suicide by cop incident where a guy had a knife and advanced on an officer and they were shot. Well, let me tell you the reality of that. There's an axiom in police that when you're within about 14 to 20 feet of an officer armed with a knife,
bad guy,
you're going to get shot.
Oh yeah, on the other side.
Because you can close the gap.
21-foot rule, 1 to 2 seconds.
You can close that gap literally, like you say, in 1 to 2 seconds.
Yes.
And that's lag time that the officer has to look at you, process the fact that you're moving towards him or her,
Yep.
process the fact that you have a knife, and then react.
Draw his
and
weapon.
Go for either your less than lethal weapon or your deadly force, which creates conflicts.
Yes.
I said this when I was a range master. The more shite that you put on an officer's belt,
the more
in
likely
terms of force,
he's going to die.
The more two things happen. Number one, people are going to get confused as to which method of force to use. And number two, because
See
you
Johan
have those,
Messerly.
because you have those abilities to use those particular pieces of equipment that folks, the
Too many
citizenry,
decisions.
are going to expect perfection
Every time.
every time.
So I bring it forward to your point right there. So this officer chose his taser. I would not have done that, but that's just me. It was less than 21 feet. The guy's still walking away. Now he's trying to get him to stop. He uses several verbal commands. The liberals were going crazy at how sweet and gentle this officer was, till the officer was shot in the throat. Guy turned around, split second, fired 4 to 6 shots. I forget exactly how many. Hit the officer 3 times, one of them in the throat. And then he was in such a rural area, you're looking at a 20-minute response time before medics arrived. We have seen it. Your example that you just gave, Johan Messerly, BART police officer, had an individual was going to tase him.
Yep.
Because what people don't realize is a taser is for somebody who is either passively or physically resistant. It is not somebody who is armed in any manner whatsoever. Once somebody puts a weapon in their hands, deadly force is justified. Time and again through the courts, this ninth are assholes. However, somebody sent this to me, and I really appreciate it because they had a relative who was living in Italy in the military. They were, their family was. It was my friend's sister and husband. There's a law in Italy that says that you must use the same force that you're being threatened with if you are going to be using force, i.e. if somebody breaks in the house with a knife and you have a gun, you cannot use the gun. You can pull another knife and fight them. Or if it is deemed like a knife and a baseball bat, you could go to jail if you defend yourself with something that is considered to be a higher level of force than the force that you were threatened with.
As if you are sufficiently prescient to know that somebody with those particular weapons is going to be breaching your home. But the point that you were making, and the BART officer, and the individual that was shot, whatever it is, whatever side, whatever you are, a lefty or a righty, that's where your deadly force is going to be. The taser is then applied to the opposite side.
Usually. Well, now it is. It wasn't always like that.
Yes. Okay, that's the point. That's the point. They went back and tried to figure out what kind of training did that officer have, and the answer is almost no training, and he'd moved the taser a number of times, and the holsters changed.
Numerous
What's the
times.
first thing that gets cut in law enforcement during times of crisis and budget? Training.
Training goes away. Here's the thing. They were using a drop leg holster that he was keeping on his right side under his firearm. I saw a lot of that happening when I first moved to California. I couldn't believe it. They use these full top.
That's how they first were applied.
Yeah,
they would like the
idea
low
was
gunslinger type holsters.
Yeah, and the idea was
underneath your deadly force.
It's the same hand same hand that you aim with. It's the same motion, so you should use that because you'll be better off with it. Just before Johan Messerly, there was a Santa Clara deputy, I believe, who was transporting a handcuffed individual. The handcuffed individual, I know I'm up against a break, began becoming combative in the back of the car, started kicking the windows, kicking the door, the whole 9 yards, started causing damage to himself as well as the vehicle. The female deputy stops, comes around the vehicle, opens the door, tries to physically restrain him. She could not. She calls for assistance. He starts to hurt himself more, so she went for the taser. Same situation as Messerly. The taser was on a drop holster on her right side. She shot the suspect once, just like Messerly, and I believe in the arm is where it ended up hitting because she was trying to go for the smooth muscle mass middle of the body, which is what you'd use for the taser. Same thing as Messerly. Single shot, which is not what law enforcement is taught with deadly force. And she stopped, realized she discharged her actual firearm and not the taser that was still in her holster underneath.
Yeah, meant to use the taser, drew deadly force.
All of these liberal policies are creating situations that are keeping our law enforcement from being safe. And it's only going to continue. Folks, we're up against a break. When we come back, we have North Korea. Obviously, we have Hurricane Maria to talk about down in Puerto Rico. They just got devastated. And a lot more here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Stick around.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
Can I say 2 words right now?
Yeah.
Okay, woohoo. I have headphones and I can hear. Let's adjust the camera again. Okay.
There we go. A little bit.
Can I see Larry? Yep, there's Larry.
There's Larry. You're doing fine as long as Larry's there. Yeah, mine's a little off too, but I can always sway.
Okay, I feel
all right, let's check your sound.
Damn,
Hillary.
This really sounds good.
Hillary, if you could check the sound, that would be wonderful.
Holy moly.
Did you hear Hillary Clinton barking like a dog?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right, so the sound is good, and we'll take that.
Okay, well, a question to the chat room.
Yes.
Did you guys hear Hillary barking like a dog?
I hope everyone heard Hillary barking like a dog.
Want to make sure that see, you can never tell. We hear certain things, and then we don't know if the folks out in reality are hearing the same things that we're hearing.
Well, you know what? I question that a lot about myself. I'm not going to lie. I actually wonder on a regular basis if everyone else in reality is hearing what I'm hearing. Well,
as you well know, I have been diagnosed many years ago with NSCB, which is non-specific cranial buzzing, which is why I told Dan Butcher last Tuesday that there's only room in my head for one person and no one else because of NSCB. Melanie says, yes, I can hear all those good things. Dave says, you guys definitely sound good. The new board is working well.
Well, thank you. Is that not just amazing?
Huzzah, huzzah,
Huzzah,
huzzah.
huzzah, huzzah.
Holy crap.
So
this is such a relief.
I want to go, and I know, God.
Yes, my child.
Puerto Rico has been just destroyed.
They've been boned. Well, number one, even without any kind of weather,
Puerto Rico was boned.
They're going bankrupt.
That's a different argument to have all the way around.
But even absent weather,
right,
they're boned.
And we could talk about that another day.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, there's an island full of people that just got hit by Hurricane Maria.
Now throw in that and the fact that last I heard, you correct me if you've heard something new, is these folks may not have electricity for 4 to 6 months. Are
4 to
you
6 months.
Kidding me?
It's in a U.S. territory. It's a very modern island for the most part. It is so bad that the emergency beacon antennas are down. 100% of the island has zero power. As I'm reading the last hours, if you go through these flashes, the news flashes, for the last 4 hours, there's been flash flood warnings all over the island. So now it is, midnight there? These people have no electricity. The house, it's being described as destroyed. The island has been destroyed. There's a curfew set for those people that have a home that they could possibly go to. Shelters destroyed. And now you have flash flooding warnings at midnight for people that don't have homes. It is an absolute dire situation.
How do you keep food? How do you keep medicine? People that are diabetic, they have to have their medicine. Many folks they're on meds that need to be chilled to a certain temperature for injectables, etc. Now what do you do? And then water, where do you get the filtration for the water?
Right.
Because now all that crap that blew in, and then all the effluvial that mixes with the rainwater and all the crap that overflows, literally crap, because now that's not working either. Your poo-poo plants run on electrical, which you don't have now.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I want to read a couple phone numbers that were sent to me. If you have any friends or relatives in Puerto Rico, it's an American territory. They're Americans. A lot of people vacation there. A lot of people have relatives who live there. I know especially the Northeast has a huge Puerto Rican population,
right?
With relatives all over Puerto Rico. There's a couple of phone lines that you can call to try to find out information on friends and family. Obviously, given the situation, there's no specificity right now as to whether or not it'll work. But one of our listeners, Jenny, sent this over, and it's all of Puerto Rico has lost power. All the cell towers have been destroyed. If you want to call and check on friends, here's 3 numbers: 877-976-2400, 787-777-0940, 202-778-0710. There's also a radio station who somehow has power, or they're able to broadcast as far as Puerto Rico. I'm not sure how that works. 787-777-0940. They're using their antenna because the emergency management antenna was destroyed. And WIPR, I believe it's a Puerto Rican radio station, is using their antenna to relay for the emergency management team down there. It's horrific. It's horrible.
You may as well go back to Puerto Rico in, 1860.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And for a lot of people who don't know, Puerto Rico is it's a modern island, but it's also a very rough island. It's very there's a lot of crime. You get outside of the vacation tourist areas, it's pretty rough. And they always have a high percentage of police officers killed per capita. It's a pretty rough showing. So it's already an island that was in need of a lot of help. As you said, they were going broke, part and parcel from this conversation, but they were going broke. The infrastructure probably isn't even close to where it probably should be, considering it's an American territory and we give them a lot of money.
Well, then, my understanding is it gets shipped over to just a great arseload of entitlements, etc.
Absolutely.
Because after all, they need it.
But now they do. And that's the tragic part. There's a whole bunch of websites out there, just like Harvey for Florida and Texas, to offer help and relief.
You know.
I don't care what you feel about Puerto Rico. They're not only just our citizens, but they are people.
And they were literally destroyed.
And
Irma was terrible.
Irma was horrific.
Harvey was terrible.
Yes.
This is worse.
This is worse for the island of Puerto Rico. I think it was Irma that destroyed Barbados. The U.S. Virgin Islands took a hit in both of them, and Maria. Those people need help. And I'm asking you from SHR Media and the Sackheads, do what you can. Use caution where you donate money if you donate money. If there's a food bank around that's going to be making shipments, I always think things like that are better. I know they'll tell you that money's the best thing to donate because then they could buy, but then you start getting into like you have with Wounded Warriors and the Red Cross where the money isn't necessarily going where you want it to go. Churches.
United Way,
a lot of these other groups. Well, there's a lot of churches, as we saw with Harvey and Irma. A lot of churches are donating more than the federal government is.
Yes.
So
and FEMA is screwed because I don't think they've ever had they had a twofer.
Right.
Now they got a threefer.
And it's just going to keep going. And if you have a chance, do what you can. Help those people out because they absolutely need it. And also, God, another rough day at Mexico yesterday. Tremendous earthquake.
200 people now killed.
And that's early. The amount of destruction that came out of that earthquake, that number is going to skyrocket eventually.
20 school kids killed among I think it was 248 now. After the school collapsed, that was a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. And that triggered explosions, fire, collapsed building.
You name it.
It sent people out into the street. And let's see, I think it came just, I don't know, like 2, 3, 4 days, something like that, after an 8.1 magnitude earthquake hit Mexico.
Yeah.
And that killed like 100 people, something like that. And then they had another earthquake, I don't know if you guys remember this, in Mexico City on September 7th.
1985?
This year.
Oh, this year. That's right. They
year.
did have a big one. Yesterday was the anniversary of the big 85 earthquake.
Yep.
And you know what's amazing, too, is off the coast of Japan, there was a 7 or 6.7 earthquake 150 miles from the Fukushima power plant. Earthquakes are very bizarre because once the earth starts moving underneath us, until it settles again, it moves all over.
Well, here's an interesting point, and the people in Washington, anybody listening in Washington or Oregon, you're not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think of California and think, oh, it's earthquake country, and the first thing they think of is the San Andreas Fault. Okay, and rightly so. It's corked off a couple of times. People say it's backlogged. The worst fault in the northern hemisphere isn't San Andreas. It's the Cascadia Fault, which is bigger, twice or 3 times larger. It's huge, runs up basically the coast near Washington and Oregon, and it's way overdue. And they submit when the Cascadia fault line goes, that's going to be basically bordering on a biblical event.
Yes. And obviously, listen, San Francisco could float into the bay at any moment.
No one's ever heard of the Cascadia Fault. They all think it's terrible San Andreas.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, there are faults everywhere. I can't think of a particular state, and we're getting earthquakes in the middle of the United States now, in the Midwest. I can't think of any state that doesn't have a fault in it somewhere.
I can't think of any states that don't have a fault because a lot of them have Democrats. Just for the record.
Well, that's very true. Absolutely correct.
Hey, BZ, I was thinking maybe we'd open the phone lines tonight. I don't know if we'll take any calls, but I was thinking we might open up some phone lines. What do you think, sir?
Why not? If for no other reason than to figure out if the phone lines work into the new board. Hey, folks, if you want to call in, do it. We're going to use you as a guinea pig.
916-282-9806. Phone number, 916-282-9806. Also on Skype, Sackheads Radio, if you want to Skype call directly. We're going to give it a shot. I don't know if it'll work. I really don't. But you know what? If the call comes in,
like I say, we're going to use you as a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Melanie in chat says, "Oh, I need to move."
Oh, yeah.
Dave says, "Don't forget the Mississippi Valley Fault."
Ooh. And actually, Dave may not realize this. He does, because Dave's a smart guy. But the Northeast also has a pretty decent-sized fault that hasn't let go in a long, long time. Yeah. It just needs to be. It's scary. It's scary,
and
scary
then,
stuff.
of course, the United States is sitting on Yellowstone.
Right.
And people are saying that when, not if, but when that bad boy happens to cork off, it will be it'll be worse than Krakatoa. It'll make Pompeii and Vesuvius look like Junior League.
Bush League. It's Bush League, I say.
League,
Bush
you.
League. Oh, man. God.
And then,
scary.
let's see, I think it's Greenland that's sitting on... Greenland is nothing but magma, volcanoes, all that stuff just waiting to cork off.
Yes. Absolutely waiting. You know what? I'm going to beat somebody to the punch. And I haven't talked to him in a while. And I just think that we need to have this conversation.
Are you calling who I think you're calling?
I might be.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Do we have an incoming?
There it is.
Hey, folks, I can hear it in my headphones. Can you guys in Radioland actually hear the phone ringing?
Dan Butcher.
Uh-oh.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Sean, you might want to recognize that it's 11:20 where Dan
Oh,
is.
I know, but you know what? He hasn't had a call like this in a while, and I know how important these calls are to him. We used to talk about it all the time. How you doing, buddy? I didn't realize you went to bed already.
Right.
I'm. We're doing good, just trying some stuff out, you know.
Now, Dave in chat says that Dan's audio is very low.
Very, very low for Dan, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let me work on that. Dan, you know you're our guinea pig right now? Oh, I may have just broke it. BZ, I may have just broke it.
The connection?
Oh.
Well, Dave
Danny, I'm sorry.
Dave Milner asked, can you take a Skype call? So, Dave, if you have
Wait.
Oh, wait.
Whatever do you mean, good sir? What?
Yeah, and Melanie says Dan's volume is super.
Dan is super soft. Okay. All right.
Well, that's another story.
Dan is super soft.
That involves a blue pill, okay? Let's not even go there. Dan doesn't want to go there, neither do I.
Oh, come on. It's good for him. Danny. Nope. Oh, I do got you. There you go. I just wanted to try this out. Now, here's good news, bad news, as always. The good news is the Skype worked. The bad news is I can't get you to connect to the board, and I know it's something that I did. And I know it's something I did because it was working fine just a few minutes ago, and then I called you, and it broke. And I was just about to tell you, look at how good I was doing. I was just about to tell you, hey, look how good I'm doing. Oh, man. Well, you know, we tried, right? That's all I could say, Danny, is we tried. We tried really, really hard.
You tried.
Well, buddy, I'm sorry I woke you up. I figured you'd be up listening to the #1 talk show in America.
No, he's not sorry. He's not sorry at all.
Oh, man. I'm trying to find the right combination, and I'll get it. I promise I'll get it, but right now I've definitely screwed it up. Yet again. Story of my life.
Nothing else to talk about on your show today, so we're gonna experiment with a board. Is that it?
Well, yeah. So I didn't have time ahead of time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I did not have time.
Yeah.
So now,
That's the way you do it.
well, I know I have time now because I have Danny.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to see if I can figure it out, and we'll see. But right now it looks like I screwed it up, and I apologize. And yeah, that's what I get for trying to show off. You know what I mean? Oh, did I just hang up on him? Oh, Danny. Oh, Danny. I made a boo-boo. I made a humongous boo-boo. I hung up on the second best newsman of the business. This is going to cost me.
Well, let me try this. Let me throw in
Okay.
on the phone, and we'll see what happens.
Skype calls are acceptable, by the way.
Okay, but the question is it going to come in?
Right. That I don't know. This is the fun part, folks. This is where we get to learn.
It's experimenting.
It is experimenting. What line are you calling?
282-9806.
Oh, okay. So,
Oh, now here's Dan's office. And
hi, Danny.
Okay, so you're not gonna get off that easy.
I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was in trouble for this.
Oh yeah. Gotta see the other evil eye look you're getting right now.
Oh, yeah. See? Uh-oh. I'm getting phone numbers like galore here. Danny, I'll be 100% honest with you on this one, and I apologize. I really thought you'd still be up working because I know you, and it's only 11:30 where you are.
Dude, I was just messing with you. Of course I'm.
Okay, good.
Who sleeps? Not me.
I was going to say, for as long as I've known you, my friend, you have never slept.
now Dan told me personally he goes to bed at 1
Yeah.
and he's up by 2.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like Chuck Norris. Sleep fears him.
I can tell you there's been nights that, pardon me, that Danny and I have talked, had a whole conversation. I have gone to bed, woke up the next morning to a phone call from Dan at a reasonable hour, not like I just did to him, asked me a legitimate question, and I said, wow, you're up early today. He's like, early? I'm still awake. And I said, Danny, what the hell is wrong with you?
I don't sleep.
He does not sleep. Much to the dismay to a Mrs. Butcher, he does not sleep.
You know, I've done this all my life, though. You know, I'm
Yeah.
a night owl.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I do sneak a little bit of sleep here and there.
Right.
But you know, hey, I'll tell you what. And this is in all honesty. When you're in this business and you're in the media business, it does take a lot of time and it does take a lot of effort to do what we do. And let me rephrase that: to not half-ass it. Okay?
Right.
If you want to put out a good quality product and you want to inform your readers and you want them to come back to your site, you have to tell them the truth. You have to investigate. You have to be honest, and you have to put the effort and the work into it.
Yeah.
You can't do soundbite journalism.
Not at all.
You can't. You can't do that. People are tired of that. And with High Plains Pundit, it's a multimedia platform, which basically what that means is we bring you written content. We also bring you audio content in the form of podcasting, and of course we bring you video content content in the way via YouTube, via Facebook Live, etc. A lot of different medium there to go into the video format.
Yes.
And so and even with, I'm very fortunate. We do have some great partnerships with other websites. We do have contributors that do write for the website, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And I'm one of these people that's very blessed to have known Andrew Breitbart and to have learned. I'm an old newspaper guy. I'm an old radio guy. I wasn't a new media guy. I didn't know the first thing about blogging or the first thing about podcasting when I got started in this. And I was very fortunate to, learn from the likes of Andrew Breitbart, who at the time, Andrew's, even when I started, Breitbart was just starting to take off. Mm-hmm. And of course, when they combined all of the websites into one, into Breitbart.com, that is when Breitbart just went off into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
After his untimely death. And, at that time, Andrew was still struggling too. He was, he had a wife and a family to support, but a wife that supported him 100%, children that support him 100%, and that's what I've been very fortunate to have. I have a wife that supports me 100%, and then some in this endeavor. It is now a big part of what we do. I think people are aware of that.
Absolutely.
So it does take a lot of time and a lot of effort in this, but it's a labor of love. This is certainly something that I believe in. It's a calling. It's something I enjoy. I live, breathe it. It's something I've always wanted to do my entire life, and so it makes all of the work worthwhile. To hear from the readers, good, bad, or indifferent, it still is worth it, even when somebody's calling you an asshole, and all kinds of names, or threatening you.
And we are.
Look forward to those comments more because I know I'm getting underneath somebody's skin that probably needs to be woken up a little bit.
Right. Oh no, definitely needs to be woken up a lot of it, and it definitely. It makes a humongous difference, and we've talked about this before. And we're not far from a break, but I absolutely salute how hard you work, and I absolutely commend you for it because it's amazing. And I remember when it was just you guys, truly the family affair around the clock. Everybody pitched in, and the blood, sweat, and tears you guys have put into it. The things that you've taught me about media, which is why I wanted you to be the first call because, it is an honor and a privilege to work with you and be your friend. And I wanted to make sure that we share that. You got the first call on the new board. So, that's the whole purpose that I woke you up, buddy.
Man. I'll tell you what makes it all worthwhile is, people that have listened to me when I do radio broadcasts know, even when I'm on BZ shows last night, if you were listening real close when I was on with BZ last night, you heard my oldest daughter come in here and kiss me on the cheek goodnight and say, "Good night, Daddy."
Yep.
I think a lot of people have heard that stuff, and over the years, people have heard that. I've got my 9-year-old son in here with me right now. He's sleeping just right behind me.
Right.
Right here. He just said hi to everybody. But, that's what makes it all worthwhile because they're all part of this. And my kids have been part of it and will continue to do so.
Well, and we look forward to it, buddy. And I look forward, as always, to working with you guys. And all the support that you've given the show and the network through the years is appreciated. And, buddy, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
And, by the way, tell Jane I am really sorry. I did not mean to. I didn't mean to cause like a late night Miller time. That was not my approach, and I apologize.
Well, I tell you what. While I've got you on here, would you like the latest weather from the UK?
No, actually, we're up against the break, Danny. I appreciate it, buddy.
We'll talk to you later, man.
Take care, pal. There he goes, Dan Butcher.
The second best.
The second best newsman in the business, folks. And, of course, we absolutely love him. He's just a wonderful friend, wonderful family, awesome people, and it's an honor and a privilege for us to know them. Hey, we're up against a break, BZ.
We are.
I don't know if you know that or not, but
I
we
do.
are.
We're actually a little late. But that's okay.
Well,
you own it, okay? You're the owner. What you say goes.
I'm saying that I need a break.
RHIP. Isn't that right? RHIP?
That's right. We'll be back at the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid brother.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Fading is so much easier now, PZ. I can't even...
Well, it's not late enough for me to fade, even though I'm in my 7th decade, so I'm wide awake as far as I am wide awake. Besides, the lights are all on. I turn the lights off during my show, and even when the lights are off in my show, I don't fall asleep.
Here's the funniest part, and I've noticed you've done this the last 2 weeks, and I don't even know if you've noticed you've done this.
Uh-oh, what?
Because I'm sitting over here, and about 3 weeks ago, while I was in this chair, I had a debacle. And that debacle was quite simply your lava lamp that you use for your show is next to me. I moved too quickly, and I knocked the glass portion. It didn't break, but I knocked it down.
No, but that did something to the board that day, if you remember.
I do remember.
And you had to squirrel around on your hands and knees to figure out, okay, it pulled out a cord somewhere. Which damn cord got pulled out?
Cord. It's the story of my life. I'm just down climbing around, seeing what the hell's going on.
Well, you fixed it.
I did fix it.
Techno God, telling you right there. That's it. You fixed it. You're the Techno God.
But and by the way, 916-282-9806 is the phone number, if anyone wants to call in. But it's or Sackheads Radio if you want to connect with us on Skype. Sackheads Radio is the Skype handle, and we will take calls. Yeah, no, but I've noticed ever since that day, it hasn't been next to me. You've moved it every single show just to keep me from breaking anything.
I am teachable.
But apparently I'm not, because you had to move that shit.
Because look, you can see, here's the lava lamp right here. But the other thing is, I have to tell you, I got lazy.
Yeah.
Because it's over. It was over there initially because I didn't want to transport it over here, take it back for my show, put it back for Sackheads. So
right.
That's why it was over there.
Right.
I just my ass was lazy.
Right.
So now, you could look at it this way too. The other lesson that was learned was if you leave that stuff over there and it gets knocked over by you, me, or doesn't really make any difference, it can affect the board, and then something goes out.
It's dangerous.
We don't need that.
It's dangerous.
We just don't need that.
It's very dangerous over here. Since our last show, BZ, North Korea has yet again fired off another missile. Now everybody's pissed, but nothing's going to get done. BZ, how many times is Riddle Kim going to be around to fire off missiles, and nobody's going to do anything about it? And I know Trump was at the UN. There's been a lot of hard words said, but do you really think at any point that the right thing is going to be done? And I've gotten to the point where I wholeheartedly agree that somebody just needs to kill this man and make this end.
It would be nice, but
it would be nice if he died.
I really don't think that's going to happen. I don't really know that there's any way to stop him. I really don't know. Because you have essentially, especially after the UN speech, you basically have all of Europe against Donald Trump for saying things like that. So
Yeah.
you're not going to get the backing of anyone in Europe, Western or not.
But you need to.
Japan, of course, is going, hell yeah.
Yep.
South Korea is going, hell yeah, to the yeah. Guam, same thing. I don't really know that there's much that you can do. If you send, it's such a closed hermit kingdom that strangers are easily identified. I mean, you'd have to have a sleeper agent in North Korea and had him or her there for literally years.
Oh, and it's beyond a sleeper agent. That's nice. The word sleeper agent, that's an understatement, man. You need to have somebody who reaches out to you that is in the trusted inner circle and wants to help, either because they're afraid of what's coming or they had an epiphany or whatever it is, BZ. But you need that, in my opinion.
I, like everybody else, I'm conflicted. It would be wonderful if North Korea was such that folks could meld in, blend in. You could send in a team of special operators, and they could go in and somehow find him and just take him off by himself. Now, another question that I had about that is, we know that it's familial. We know that people in North Korea believe, or some believe, or treat him as though he's a god.
Because they have to.
Who's in the wings? So if he goes, who's next? Are we going to have somebody that's just like him? Are we going to have somebody that's worse than him? And do we even know? Now, the corollary to that is, okay, we could send in some rock troops or some rock special operators, and somehow they could go over the DMZ or somehow get themselves inserted. But man, would you have to have information about where he is almost on an hourly basis, because like Gaddafi and like Saddam Hussein, he never slept in the same spot. He never sleeps in the same spot more than one night in a row because of that exact that exact same thing. So, okay, if you can't get at him individually with special forces, ROK troops or otherwise. By the way, ROK, that stands for Republic
of Korea.
And those are South Korean troops, which are very well trained, extremely well trained. Then I guess you're going to have to drop one of those new Moabs on him. But see, it's all about, can you find him? And the other supposition is, if you do that, if you send some rockets, what will be his response?
Well, I mean,
because potentially now you're jeopardizing all of the troops at the DMZ. You're jeopardizing almost everyone in Seoul, which is a couple of million people, 2, 3, 4 million people in Seoul, which is not that damn far from the DMZ.
At all. What's it, 80 miles?
Yeah, if that. And you've got millions of people there. And then if he gets a bee up his butt and decides to send a couple of surprise packages to Japan, yeah, and you don't even need to have these things don't even need to be accurate at all. You can cork off an airburst, which becomes an EMP, and the entire island of Japan is screwed.
Yep.
For years.
Destroyed.
So you don't need accuracy. Accuracy not required if you're gonna make it an EMP, which in some instances is even worse than
the nuke.
Than had you just emptied up a massive hole in the ground and turned everything to glass.
Yeah,
it'd kick your butt back to the Stone Ages. So I don't have an easy answer. Trump doesn't have an easy answer. The corollary to that is thank you, Barack Hussein Obama, and thank you, George Bush.
And William Jefferson Clinton.
And thank you, Bill Clinton, for giving technology in 1995 to China, who then in turn decided it would be a great thing to give that self-same technology to North Korea. And here we are today.
Ridiculous. Look...
I mean, do you have an answer? I really do not.
I say this all the time. We go back to the Cold War, right? The Cold War was between two modern countries. The military of the Soviet Union was modern. The country, it wasn't. But you also had a much more stable leadership than you have in North Korea. The Cold War was a chess game and an arms race. They knew if they launched, we would destroy them.
Well, and MAD, mutually assured destruction.
Right.
But you were dealing, though they were the Soviets, you were still dealing with actors that were at least had a semblance of rationality to them.
Right, and self-preservation.
And because basically Khrushchev.
Self-preservation was a big thing for them,
passed
too.
Away.
Self-preservation. They knew.
See, you like that, don't you?
It would all go away. So it became a chess game. I go back and actually, I forget what year it was. It was in the early 80s. There was a Russian satellite outpost responsible for not launching for a mistake on their radar system. And the lieutenant colonel that was in charge, that they thought there were 5 missiles incoming to Moscow. And it was a radar and a launch site, and this lieutenant colonel was in charge. He, in a matter of seconds, being a brilliant person, said, no, that doesn't match. Our ground radar is not getting anything. This is only satellite stuff. We're not going to counter launch. I'm not telling anybody because they'll launch and this will be on. And it ended up being a mistake. The satellite was picking up solar glare off of the clouds and reflected it back as 5 potential incoming missiles to the Soviet Union. Because he had the brains and the technology to double check that was not a reality and use other sorts of equipment. They say he's the man who may have saved the world.
And there's a human brain.
And he just passed away yesterday, by the way.
Oh, there's a human brain inserted somewhere in between that reactionary technology.
But now you look at North Korea. So that's who we're dealing with the Soviet Union, right? You look at North Korea, and they have the haymaker, and they don't care who they are crazy enough to walk into the prison yard, find the biggest guy, and punch him in the face. And in reality, that's who they are. They're the little guy who goes to prison, walks into the prison yard, finds the biggest guy, and hits him as hard as he can.
Well, he said his goal, feature this, his goal is to have nuclear parity with the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck me. That's a massive goal. That puts you on par with the U.S. and the Soviet Union.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
now all of a sudden you're a player.
Is that truly his goal?
Yeah. Now all of a sudden you're a player and you can hold the world hostage.
See, I don't know if he's crazy like a fox or if he's just damn crazy.
I think it's a little bit of both. So where Putin's crazy as a fox, but he's also intelligent and a little crazy. I think
he can be dealt with. I think he can.
Kim Jong-un is almost like his antithesis, where the crazy like a fox is there a little bit, but the actual crazy outweighs the rest of it.
Well, and
Putin's the opposite. I think
you can still hold a conversation with him.
Right. And I don't think you can hold a conversation. I think it's to the point now before. So right now we don't know how many missiles they have, but the potential is even if they cook off 2 or 3, right? Yes, you will have massive damage, but you won't have total destruction, right? You'll have some major league damage. But if they get to the point of the Soviets where they could have annihilated the entire country coast to coast through a nuclear attack, I don't care what missile defense system we have up, a couple are going to get through. Do not, in my opinion, allow Kim Jong-un to get to that point. You gotta do something at this point.
The only thing that I suggested that I thought was even possible is, and I don't know if you could reliably do this, nor do I know if you would want to do this, because it could potentially reveal a very serious weakness in your defense, is the next rocket he sends up,
shoot it down.
Shoot it down.
So here's what I say.
But the THAAD system, it comes, it goes.
It's not a perfect system.
Exactly. It's not 100% accurate. So then what that tells him is, oh, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you shot down 1, let's see what you do with the next one. And if we miss number 2, then he'll send up number 3. We may miss that. It's just, ad nauseum.
So here's my theory on this.
But the other thing I suggested is take down at least 1 North Korean satellite.
Well,
at least 1.
The way I look at BZ is this. I understand that nobody wants loss of life. However, you have a regime who has these nukes that are a threat to our mainland. You cannot reason with him. You cannot bargain with him. He absolutely will not stop, in my opinion, until we are dead. What movie was that from? Michael Biehn, the original Terminator. When he was first.
All right.
You can't bargain with it. You can't reason with it.
There's a guy who disappeared off the acting map.
However, if you need somebody to play a Navy SEAL, he's your guy.
Not anymore. He's too damn old.
Yeah, now he is. But the last one was The Rock, if I recall.
A crazy Navy SEAL.
Yes. But I think at some point you have to say, I understand the potential loss of life to the North Koreans would be horrific. And it would be.
Well,
the response is, but you have South Korea, Japan, and America that could all get one if he goes batshit crazy. At what point do we talked earlier about the guy with the gun and the cop, right? 21 feet, the knife, the potential, having to be able to be sure and use the appropriate tool at the right time in order to survive. At what point is that tool an absolute military strike? Devastating military strike.
It would be wonderful if you could take this in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
If you could determine that if push comes to shove, you know what? We know for a fact we're just going to be dealing with North Korea.
Right.
But that's not the issue. We have a pretty good idea that we'll at least be dealing with China. I believe so. And we may even perhaps be dealing with Russia. Not quite so sure how that would go. My guess would be that Putin would just stand back and watch the festivities.
I think everyone's wrong about this. And I
would like to be assured that nobody else would get involved.
Here's why. If North Korea has nukes, yeah, right now them and China get along. But what happens if that changes? Well, then you have a nuclear neighbor right there who's out of control, right? Right now, we could become the bad guys. No, China can wag their finger at us. Russia can wag their finger at us. Hey, you shouldn't have done that. That was bad. Really, really bad. How dare you? Thank God he's dead. Guys, they did it. Everyone can let your bungholes unpucker a little bit. Because if China slams another embargo on him and he turns around and says, hey, you know what? Fuck you. We've been friends for years. Now you're going to pull this shit because I have these? Fine. Where's your big population? Let's go. And I am convinced China does not have the missile defenses we do.
I said this either last week or the week before. I don't remember when. But I
know I dropped out of chat. Everybody, I'm sorry. I was trying to do about 50 different things.
That's okay. I've been in chat. No big deal. Oh, now are you hearing that? I'm hearing a little.
I think I. Yep, I knew what that was. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, it was a slider.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd like to think that we could view this all in isolation.
Right.
Ideally, that would be great. And the big question is, and this became an issue for me when everybody recall when China said, you know what, if you cook off your 6th nuclear weapon, we are going to intervene. And we have drawn that red line. So that's China drawing a red line. Now, if China doesn't back up what it said, will North Korea now look at China and think, just like the United States, you're nothing but a paper tiger? So now that makes me wonder, China didn't react. Are they going to do anything or say anything if he cooks off a 7th nuclear weapon?
Right.
Because I fully believe he's going to. Nothing has happened. What's there to lose at this point? Can China afford to lose face like that? Because in the Chinese world, that's serious losing face, respect. So it also makes me wonder, and we're not going to know, who's talking to who, what nation to what nation, and what's being said.
Yeah.
Underneath it all.
You're right, we don't.
Is China talking to D.C.? Is D.C. talking to China? I'm absolutely not. I'm not sure. There was a movie called By Dawn's Early Light, and I remember the President of the United States, don't remember who he was portrayed by, said something similar to, I will not be known as the president who got us into World War III.
Yeah, oh, man. Oh.
You're potentially looking at World War III.
Yeah, I was in the movie. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Look, I think China is more of a paper tiger than they let on. I think China has...
Fiscally, they are. Economically, they are. They're not the powerhouse they used to be.
Militarily, I think so, too. I think a lot of the... So you look at Iran and other countries like that, but I use Iran as a great example. Iran always throws out these new modern age technology, blah, 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 airplane, tank, this, that, and the other thing. We all know it's bullshit. It's fabricated most of the time, or it's a reverse engineered F-5. You know, it's with some new wing angles and something else. It's not this massive technology they say it is.
It's Soviet.
But you also have China, who has a much better ability to fake things. You look at their equipment, it may all fly, it may all shoot missiles, but it's not what it says it can do. I am 100% convinced. I'm not saying that it is not a threat. I'm not saying it is not an issue. But I think that they absolutely perpetrate a little bit when they put their military equipment out there. Russia has a decent amount of equipment and ability. However, I don't think that their military has the wherewithal to put it together if they had to. I also don't think either of those countries want North Korea to be the way it is now. I think it is just as big of a threat to them because if something happens and they don't come to their aid, he could get pouty. Look at this is the guy who blasted his uncle with an ADAC gun. He kills people all the time. He feeds people to hungry dogs.
That was kind of cool.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong.
We discussed
in context.
That. Yeah,
in
we
context,
discussed how cool that was.
It was cool. Crazy as a son of a bitch, but cool.
It's like using a recoilless rifle on your friend.
Yeah.
Just to see what the hell
Just
happens.
to see what the hell happens. It's like using an EMP to open the electromagnetic gun to open a beer bottle top. You know what I mean? Like it might be a little overkill.
Yeah, you could do it though.
I don't think everybody will jump if we get into China, North Korea rather. They would if we got into China. If we get into North Korea, because I think they view him just as fucking crazy and unpredictable, and they fear him. They fear him because, I don't know his technology, but that missile goes up. If it becomes armed relatively quickly and it misfires, that incompetence for one thing. But then you get into him getting pissed off at anyone who doesn't just suck up to him. He's childish. He's unpredictable. He's an emotional nutcase. I don't think if we went in and took care of business, I don't really think at this point that anybody would give a shit. That's just my opinion.
I
2 minutes.
I don't know what the answer is. And a lot of people are saying, go right in and just start launching some crap at him. Well, okay, but there's the potential that we'd lose a lot of people. Now,
Yeah.
I think in the order, it would be this: DMZ, Seoul, Japan, Guam, Hawaii, and the Western United States.
Well, and so when I say you carpet bomb, biblically, send them every. Did you see the first Avengers movie?
The only thing that we have left to carpet bomb are B-52s. The Lancers, we don't have enough of them.
Did you ever see Avengers?
Yeah.
The original one where Loki was waiting on the fabric of space, and he's sending all the demons and the monsters down, and he finally goes, "Send everybody." That's what we need to do, or send the rest. That's what we need to do. We need to go heavy, hit all their launch sites right away, all at the same time. If that means that they put up planes, if that means that there's defense, if that means it's a high risk. It's a very, very high risk. There will be casualties.
Logistically, it would be very difficult to carry out bombing.
Yeah.
Because of the great distance. And the fact that B-52s are so damn slow.
Yeah.
But we got a lot more of them than we do the Lancers. And we have even fewer B-2s.
Well, and we have much better ability to protect our bombers.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if anybody knows, the F-117s are gone.
Yeah, the Nighthawks.
You don't even have them anymore. They're gone.
Yep. But I also think that our ability to do a successful and vicious strike and scare them like the Iraqis got scared into not even pulling the trigger. I think the potential is there, but it has to be shock and awe times 10. We're out of time, folks. That's it for the Sackheads Radio Show.
Strange show, but I enjoyed it.
Always a strange show, but I always enjoy it. We'll be back next Wednesday right here at the SHR Media Network, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast.
Maybe Clint, too.
You know what? You can't trust that sumbitch.
Okay, good.
Right here tomorrow night, you have BZ Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. just before him. At 6 p.m. Pacific, and I'm going to walk this backwards so I get all the times right now. At 6 p.m. Pacific, you have Jersey Joe, the Reaver of Common Sense. Before that, you have the right guy, Ralph, the amazing Ralph. Before that, Monday through Friday, you have the amazing Melanie.
Melanie.
Yes. And on Wednesdays before Melanie, you have Jeff. And, of course, in the morning, you have the right way with Pastor Shannon and Mike. And, make sure you check out all the shows here,
And
please.
I got Underground Professor coming on the show tomorrow night.
Oh, the arrival of UGP.
And I have Possessed Tranquility, the group that created my intro music.
Well.
So that's why I say Boy, I hope the phones work tomorrow.
We will make sure. I will make sure that the phones work tomorrow. I promise.
Had a great time.
Thank you, sir. I will see you, everybody, and you. I'll see you next week, too. But everyone else, I'll see you next
tomorrow.
week. Talk to you later, folks.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.